Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahavidyam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhetamastu ma Vidvishavahe Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat. Continuing our discussion on the Sadhana Panchakam, the teachings given in Sadhana Panchakam. Last class we finished with the shloka that ends with Buddhajanair Vada Parityajyatam. We saw until then. So, the learning process that begins in Shravana matures and becomes clear in Manana, and the abidance is perfected in Nididhyasana. We saw that. And connected to these three aspects of abidance in the self-knowledge, or the process of freeing oneself from the various levels of ignorance and the habitual errors associated with it, the Nididhyasana process started, and we were discussing that. So continuing with that, every aspect of life is included in the process of Nididhyasana. We discussed that. In line with that, we will see this current shloka, which basically talks about the mundane aspect of a renunciate's life. Okay, the practical aspect of a renunciate's life. So, Brahmasmi iti vibhavyatam and all that is there. Every day, get rid of your ego, we saw. Become free from the idea that I am the body, or the identification with the body, all the bodies. And do not engage in unnecessary arguments with wise people, learned people. We saw that, right? Now, there is a recommended lifestyle of a renunciate. So each ashrama, each stage of life, the student stage, there is a way of life recommended, commitments and all that. The householder stage, a way of life is recommended. The Purushartha and the ashrama are connected. You are learning about dharma and grounding yourself in dharma at the stage of brahmacharya. And you carry that dharma, maintaining your knowledge of dharma and your commitment to dharma. You are pursuing artha and kama along with dharma in your householder life. And when your desire for moksha comes, you leave the house, go through vanaprastha and then sannyasa. So vanaprastha is practice of yoga, which is studying the mind, clearing all the dross that we accumulated in the life of a householder, and sharpening of our spiritual vigor and carrying it forward into a life of renunciation. So sannyasa is connected with moksha. Moksha is the purushartha, or the human value, the goal that is associated with sannyasa, or the life of a renunciate. And sannyasa is considered essential for renunciation. Without sannyasa, there is not going to be realization. Now, for some, it is possible to have both external and internal sannyasa. But for most people, external sannyasa may not be possible. So, from the teachings that are given for a sannyasi here in Sadhana Panchakam, the teaching is meant for a sannyasi. What we saw in the last class to some extent, and what we are going to see now, henceforth, is meant for a sannyasi, a renunciate, a monk. if you take the meaning directly. The direct meaning is not relevant for a normal householder person or a very active, busy person. However, like in all the teachings that we saw, we are going to create an adaptation by trying to live the spirit of the teaching that is meant for the monks and see how we can adapt that spirit into our lives that we have, which might be active, involved in society, etc. So, how to bring that value, how to bring that attitude of or quality of renunciation, or how to develop a certain attitude that will nourish the quality of renunciation in us, which will help us to strengthen the jnana. So, the inner renunciation, nourishing the inner renunciation by taking inspiration from the essential spirit behind the following teachings that are given for a sannyasi. That is how we are going to see that. So the next shloka goes like this. There are two versions. The last two lines come interchangeably in two versions. So I will go with the version that my Guruji uses. So one version is Kshudvyadischa chikitsyataam pratidinam bhikshaushadham bhujyatam स्वाध्वन्नं न तु याच्यताम् विधिवशात् प्राप्तेन संतुष्ट्यताम्. So the one version goes the next line, शीतोष्णादि विषह्यताम् न तु वृथा वाक्यं समुच्चार्यताम् औदासीन्यमभीप्स्यताम् जनकृपा नैष्ठुर्यमुत्सृज्यताम्. But the version that my Acharya ji uses and many others use is the Audasinyam Abhipsyatam comes first, Shitoshnadi Vishahyatam comes next in the last line. Third line and the fourth line get mixed up in two versions. It doesn't matter. But it all goes together in one stage of the Nididhyasana or the one set of teachings that is like a stage, right? Okay. So the first one, Kshudd Vyadhishcha Chikitsatam. Treat disease and hunger. Hunger and disease, treat them. This is one way of understanding. Treat the disease that is hunger. That is another meaning. While you are striving to be free from the habitual errors and be grounded in the truth that has been realized, it is important to take care of the body. While you know that I am not the body, while the identification with the body is completely removed, while there is no identification with the body that is encouraged, upkeep of the body and the health of the body is encouraged. See, identification with the body is discouraged, while maintenance, basic maintenance and health of the body is encouraged. So this is where we have to understand the basic approach in Vedanta. They say bhavadvaitam sada kuryat. Practice advaita in your attitude, bhavana, in understanding. Karyadvaitam na karhichit. Do not bring this advaita as an excuse or as an escape route in practical things. Do not try to impose advaita in practical things. So when you are hungry, you are not told when the body is hungry, give food to the body. Not say the hunger is Brahman, body is Brahman, life is Brahman, death is Brahman. Oh, this is all just appearance. Doesn't matter whether the body lives or dies. No. Kshud vyadischa chikitsatam. Also, if there is a disease, take medicine. Don't be like blind faith people who are trying to say, oh, this is my karma that I will suffer and burn my karma. No. If there is a disease and if there is a medicine available, please treat the disease and be free from the disease. This is given even for sannyasi. Okay. So when sannyasi is supposed to do that, there is no question about others. It is important to eat and it is important to remain disease free. This is one message we take from that. Another message, it is important to treat hunger like a disease. Means you eat for relieving yourself from hunger and some basic nutrition. Okay. Now, do not obsess over food. It means basically treat the disease that is hunger. Means don't get obsessed over food. Too much of attention and too much of fastidiousness means being very highly choosy about this this ingredient, that ingredient, and this is bio certified, and I will eat only from that place. All these complications, don't complicate your meal. Do not complicate your meal. That comes, that comes in the next line. Do not complicate your meal. We will see this again now when we see the other teachings. Okay. Kshud vyadishcha chikitsyasam. The attitude towards hunger is like how you have an attitude towards disease. You have a medicine, the disease is gone. So you are eating for hunger, for survival, and not giving too much importance to it, while giving the basic essential importance to it. For example, do not eat meat, do not eat prohibited food. That doesn't mean you eat whatever will satisfy your hunger. Every time you are hungry, you drink a little water, the hunger is gone. Or you do some plavini pranayama, hunger is gone. That is not what is being said here. That is why the next teaching is important. Kshud vyadischa chikitsatam. Treat the disease with medicine and hunger. Treat hunger like a disease with the medicine. What is the medicine? For the disease that is hunger, pratidinam bhikshaushadam bhujyata. Every day, eat the, consume the medicine. Take the medicine of the food that comes by bhiksha. The food that comes by bhiksha. Bhiksha means by begging. That the food that comes from begging. That food is the medicine for the disease that is hunger. Now, this is told for a sannyasi. How that food is medicine? One, it takes care of hunger. Two, it prevents you begging and eating, challenges one's ego. Aharahar garva parityajyatam. In previous shloka, every day, give up your ego. So you have to bend down to beg for food. So that puts your ego down. That I and mine will not assert there. And you are under the sky. You are completely living by Ishvara's grace, by prarabdha. And you are not busy maintaining a kitchen and all the paraphernalia that goes with it, and constantly worrying about what to do, how to gather the grains, how to have the food, and what will happen to the next meal. Do I have enough for winter? All these things, a sannyasi is not supposed to bother about all that. Pratidinam bhikshaushadam bhujyatam. Aushadam means one. Excuse me. I'll be back in 1 second. why is the food that we beg and eat is called the sannyasi, the food that the sannyasi begs and eat, why is it called as medicine? Because it cures all the complications that are associated with food. It invokes in us the attitude of surrender. It helps us to not encourage the ego, to stay free from the clutches of the ego and dignity and all these, what you call as, there is a virtue called amanitvam, adambitvam, so you will have to be humble, you will have to understand the interplay of things, you will be very grounded. Sometimes it comes with a nice attitude, sometimes it doesn't come with a nice attitude, sometimes it is tasty, sometimes it is not tasty, right? क्षुद्व्याधिश्च चिकित्स्यतां प्रतिदिनं भिक्षौषधं भुज्यताम्. So while doing that, what this monk is supposed to do? Swadvannam natu yachyatam. Do not ask for tasty food. See, you are a big Swami, highly respected master, right? Everybody is waiting to serve you. Do not. So if you ask, there are no. Suppose if you are a guru and very highly respected sannyasi, very learned, and you have a lot of purity and benevolence, and people are, uh, you know, uh, the people are very pleased to, feel very lucky and blessed to serve you and all that. Swadvannam natu yachatam. Do not ask for tasty food. Oh, they serve and then you have a little bit. Oh, can you put a little bit salt, a little bit pepper? No. Whatever falls on your begging bowl, that's about Swadvannam. Even if they invite you for lunch in their house, many times I have seen, Swamiji, how is it? They'll say, it's fine. That's all. They will not say, okay, can I have this? Can I have that? So if you ask him, would you like to have this or that? Or may I serve you this? They will say yes or no. But if you ask him, would you like something? They will say nothing. Because they are not supposed to ask for tasty food. Whatever you serve, so it is a huge tension, for householders when we serve swamis. It's a huge tension because they are not going to ask for anything. You cannot taste the food before you serve, so you really don't know whether they are enjoying it or not. And their face is, if it is a good master, their face is always smiling, always the same. It's like Japanese people, you never know whether they are happy or sad. They're always having the same face. You don't know whether they're angry with you or they are happy with you. You have no clue, right? Same face for everything. So the Swami is like this. So you don't know what this monk wants. What would be nice for this monk. You want to give them a good food, and they will not tell you. It's a huge tension for others. But but for the monk, it is important not to ask for tasty food, because the person has to cultivate that equanimity between pleasant and unpleasant, happy and sorrow, enjoyment and suffering. So that it comes later. Sitoshnadi visakyatam. So all that it comes later. We are going to see that. So it is important to not ask for tasty food. But then how are you going to be satisfied? Vidivasat praptena santushtitam. Now, whatever, be satisfied with whatever comes to you through fate. According to fate, whatever comes to you. Okay, today's fate is like this. Oh, today's fate, was like this. Sometimes pleasant, sometimes unpleasant. So whatever comes to you by fate, have it. So here there are a few things that we need to consider. Vidivasat is a very tricky word. What comes by fate, but it also indicates another meaning, points to another meaning. What comes by itself while you are following the rules that are meant for begging. It's very important. This is where the Vaidika sannyasa, the Vedanta sannyasa, this in our Hinduism, the sannyasa, there are no compromises. You are not supposed to, have arrangements, backhand arrangements, where, there is a special day where the monks are allowed. There is a the monks are allowed to go and have food, like, in people's house or something. So they will have somebody else who will arrange for that. So they are not supposed to, demand something, but they create a culture which will give them, meat and all kinds of. These monks are supposed to be devoted to ahimsa, non-violence, but they are served meat. They will not kill, but if somebody kills and cooks and brings, they will eat. Buddhism. So the Buddhist monks in many places, they will go and eat meat, and there is a huge network that makes sure that these monks are given tasty food on certain times, right? So then sometimes they will not say by themselves. If you are a big swami, you will not say by yourself. You will have students. Oh, our Guruji likes this one, like that. They will be there for their monks also, I think. I don't know. But it is it's very, very much in the open. There are arrangements to give special food for monks. So it's a whole culture of, pampering the monks. The attitude of wanting to keep the monks happy and all that is nice, but they should also, the monks are also in a situation to teach the society, so they are supposed to state what is okay, what is not okay. So when it comes to Paramahamsa sannyasa, or the sannyasa ashrama in Hinduism, there are a lot of rules. For example, the sannyasi is not supposed to go and beg randomly anytime and anywhere and everywhere and to any number of places. There is a text called Yati Dharma Sangraha, okay, which talks about the rules and regulations for a monk. One is supposed to study that. When somebody takes sannyasa, they teach that. The monks study that. It tells you the do's and don'ts of a monk's life. Why? Because sannyasa ashrama, the institution of sannyasa, the monkhood, is part of the society. It is the society that sustains the sannyasa. There is the dynamic relationship between the monks and the lay people in the society. Now, this relationship is a sacred one that benefits both of them spiritually. The relationship between the sannyasi and the society should benefit both the society and the sannyasi. It should not take the sannyasi away from his commitment. At the same time, it should not exploit the privilege of a sannyasi, should not exploit the society. At the same time, it should not misdirect the society to forget its duties towards those who are committed to renunciation and truth. So it's a dynamic relationship. It's a back and forth. So the Shastra is very clear. The monk is supposed to stay outside the village. Now we are talking about a classical setup. Okay, in a classical setup, the monk stays outside the village, not somewhere inside, not in somebody's house. Maybe they can rest for a night in somebody's porch in the front or something like that. But generally, they stay outside the village in some abandoned place or something like that, and they go for begging during the day. After the sound of the vessels stop, people finish eating and then they wash the vessels and keep. So when the monk does not hear any more sound of the vessels, he goes to beg, and he's supposed to ask for food only. There are some rules. One class of sannyasis can beg up to 7 houses. In the 7 houses, there is nothing offered for him to eat. He should come back and stay and not bother about going hungry for the day. This is a rule. He cannot keep going to the entire village until you get food. Only 7 houses. Whatever you get, you have to eat. In the sense, you should not ask for more or less or tasty and all that. Basically, there is no planning. There is no planning in the food, and there is a kind of a commitment to staying neutral and without being pushed by personal preferences, and the practice of humility, and also not imposing one's presence upon the society which is busy with its own things, right? So it is already a great privilege that people are happy to give me some food, whatever is left over. the fact that I have to eat should not become a burden for the society. So, a minimal burden for the society. The monk is devoted to truth, while the grihastha or the householder is encouraged to serve the monks. The monks are highly discouraged from interfering in the lives of householders and lay people. They're discouraged to stay far as much as possible and impose themselves as on the society as less as possible, both psychologically and economically and socially. You are not supposed to poke your nose on everything. If they come and ask for advice, you may give advice, but you are not supposed to go there and be an activist. And you are not supposed to become a burden on the society. So a sannyasi is devoted to the truth. He needs some minimal things to stay alive. So the society takes care of. There is a culture that takes care of it, and the sannyasi should respect the boundaries and stay within the boundaries and not impose himself on the village too much. 7 houses. There is another higher level of sannyasa. Only 3 houses. Right? So like that, there are rules, and you cannot beg from anybody and everybody. You can only, if you are a Paramahamsa sannyasi, you can beg only from the houses of Dvijas, not from anywhere and everywhere. Like that, there are a lot of things. We will not go into the detail, but what I am telling is it is not a simple random thing. Vidivasat means whatever you are begging while following the rules of the sannyasa ashrama, within that rules, without compromising those rules, when you beg whatever comes by fate, while you stay within your boundaries of rules, behavior, when you stay within the boundaries of your behavioral restrictions that are imposed by the Shastra for a person who is supposed to live like a formal monk, within that boundaries, when you go and beg whatever comes to you by that day's karma, fate, whatever, by chance, whatever comes to you by chance, you be satisfied with that. Vidivasat praptena santushtyata. Cultivate the attitude of satisfaction, santosha, on whatever you receive while you follow the rules, whatever you receive by chance, whatever comes, without you imposing your will on the situation. Right? So minimal. Now, how can a normal person take inspiration from this? So you are not a sannyasi, you are a householder, you have a kitchen, you have a home, you cook. First, Kshud Vyadishcha Chikitsatam. Remember that food is for treating the disease called hunger. You are eating for hunger and not for indulgence. In this case, be free from gluttony. Do not be a glutton. One. Don't eat for taste or for psychological satisfaction. Try to avoid all those things as much as possible. Right? As much as possible. So the main attitude for food is for hunger and upkeep of the body, which includes nutrition in that. Okay, but not over obsession about it. Every day there are 100 videos and reels and YouTube and lectures and articles about this food is good, that food is good. Yesterday something was good, today it is bad, tomorrow it is again good. Then there is some other exotic grain superfood, all kinds of things. Per day there are a million things. You just follow basic Ayurveda and whatever is there. They have been saying the same thing for 3,000 years, 5,000 years, 10,000 years. It's the same concept. So try to absorb those principles and have some basic common sense and eat, and that's it. But don't go too much into that. If you start probing into the food, so you don't have to become a food researcher. Up to a point is okay, but beyond that, don't bother too much, because then it becomes an obsession, and 24 hours you are only thinking about food. So it's not worth it, right? So that is the whole point. Kshudyadishcha chikitsanam. And eat only for hunger. Don't eat to get that full stomach. Don't eat for a full stomach. When the hunger is done, maybe a little bit more, and that's it. So eat the quantity that will take care of your hunger. Eat with the attitude that the food is for taking the disease called hunger. And whenever there is a disease, take medicine. Don't try all your. Don't try to get some supernatural powers and all that, and try to, don't look for all that. Oh, I am a yogi, for example. There are yoga practitioners who say, I am a yogi, I should not take any medicine. No, depending on where you are and the conditions, okay, you try some natural medicine. If it works, fine. If it doesn't work, please take whatever medicine works for that situation, right? So don't let the body deteriorate beyond a point. So use your common sense. That's what it means. Use your common sense in taking care of disease through medication, and try to consume food without gluttony, with the mind keeping in mind that food is for hunger and taste is secondary. Hunger is primary, nutrition is primary, taste and indulgence are secondary, and no gluttony. This is Bhikshaushadam bhujyatam. Now, sannyasi is told to beg. Fine. But normal people cannot beg. There are sometimes, some people, they take a vow. In India, it happens. They take a vow that, for example, if their kid is sick or something, they pray in a temple. So, if my kid is cured, I will go by walk and beg for um, grains, and from that begged grains I will make some pongal or whatever and offer to you on such and such date. So they take it like a vratam. So you can see people, they will be having, there are women who come with a sari, that pallu of the sari, they will show that and ask, beg for some rice or grains. So we put some grains in that. They will beg in a few houses, and then you will collect the grains and then make some food in a temple and then distribute for people, offer to the deity and eat from that. And then sometimes, there are a lot of vows they do. So bhiksha, begging for food, is a holy ritual, and it is not concept. It is not about laziness. It is not about laziness. It is about understanding the reality of human dependency on all the factors that are around us, the human helplessness, and how much we are interconnected with the world. It makes you aware of all. It gets you very grounded. So it and it also puts down our ego. You don't have to. You don't, and you are completely open to the chance. You are completely open to grace. Your whims and fancies won't work there. You are totally open to the reality of the life that is around you. So it has a huge psychological impact for one's own inner development, right? So they do all that. That aside, bhikshaushadam bhujyatam, we have to understand, even though you say this is my money, I go and buy in a supermarket what I want and then I cook and eat, right? It's my money and my food. I earned it. You may say that. But if you really look how much we are dependent upon the entire network that provides that food. There is a great poet called Thiruvalluvar. So he has a poem, a couplet, which says, உழுதுண்டு வாழ்வாரே வாழ்வார் மற்றல்லார் தொழுதுண்டு பின் செல்பவர். Those who cultivate the food and eat, the farmers, only they are the ones who are actually living independently, living by themselves. They are the ones who are not beggars. The rest of us are all beggars who, for the sake of food, we beg and we serve somebody else and beg, and then we go behind them, and we are all going behind the grace of the farmer. The rest of us are all beggars who are dependent on the farmer, and we are going behind them. So if the farmer stops cultivating, you have no food. In fact, most of us won't even know how to survive in nature. No, most of us don't know. They don't teach us that in education. There are some people who know how to live in the forest and all that. So there are people who know how to cultivate, make their own food. So that's great. But generally in a society, you see, if you are not a farmer, except other than a farmer, everybody else is a beggar. Okay. And even as a farmer, you are not completely independent. You are a beggar in front of God. You are dependent on the natural resources. You are dependent on the rhythms. You are dependent on every worm that is under the soil, and you are dependent on the bees for pollination. So whenever we eat food, we can understand, we can be conscious of the food cycle and develop the attitude that, this food is on my plate completely out of grace. I have absolutely no control over this. Me having control over this food that is bringing this food on my table is a complete illusion. One factor in the entire circle goes off track, I don't have my next meal here, right? The entire universe has to cooperate. The entire fabric of the society has to cooperate. The entire food cycle and the network of production, distribution, everything has to cooperate. Only then I can have a food on my table. So I become conscious of that. And they are also prayers, before we starting. And we also understand that this entire food cycle is part of the divine order. So I receive my food as an offering, as a gift that comes from God. I beg and somebody offers me food. It's a bhiksha. When I'm eating, I'm eating the bhiksha offered by God through this entire network that God maintains. Bhagwan gives me this food. He has made this food available for me. So that gratitude and that humility when it comes to food. There are some groups in the yoga groups. They're in India. The Siddha Vidyarthis, I've heard about them. So what they do is, and also generally in Hinduism, there is a rule that the food should stay in a level higher than where you sit. Food is the king. You are the one who is below the food. Food is the king. So they keep a small table, and the food is placed on that table, and you sit below. So, for example, when we eat in a dining table, we are sitting in a level below. So you don't stay above food. The food stays above you, has a seat higher than you. They say Anna Raja, Anna Raja. The king food should be higher than you. So that is a sentiment, right? So Bhikshau Shatam Bhujyatam. So whenever you eat food, you remember that it is the food that you have begged from the universe, and the universe has offered you out of grace, and it is agreed to keep you alive. So that attitude we can cultivate, and it is also reinforced through the prayer. There is a prayer we chant before eating, Annapurne Sadapurne Shankara Prana Vallabhe Jnana Vairagya Siddhyartham Bhiksham Dehi Cha Parvati. So that converts your food into Bhiksha. You are bringing the attitude of Bhiksha in food. When we chant this prayer, Annapurne, so the goddess Annapurna, it's one of the manifestations of goddess Parvati, wife of Lord Shiva. So when Lord Shiva went around as the begging mendicant, Parvati offered him food. So she was that manifestation of goddess Parvati is considered Annapurna. Okay, so there is a temple for Annapurni in Horanadu in Karnataka. So they offer free food. There is kitchen, the fire burning all the time. So all throughout the day, every day of the year, there is free food for whoever goes there. I heard that it seems nobody should go hungry. There are people who will come to the bus stand and yell, "Has everybody had food? If anybody is hungry, come, please. There is food." No, he will come, call, and go. So Annapurna's the temple is there. So there is a huge network that makes sure that there is always food available there. You don't have to convert your religion to eat. Anybody is welcome. If you're hungry, you have food there, right? So like this, we have in entire India. So this Annapurna is a principle. The God, the Divine Mother, giving this Divine Supreme Ishvara, the Divine is seen as a mother who offers food, who gives food for all her children. So Annapurani. Annapurani means the one who is of the nature of completeness and who is complete. From her completeness, she gives us food. Annapurani. Annapurne, Sadapurne, the one who is always complete in herself, which means Brahman actually. Shankara Pranavallabhe, the goddess who is the dearest to the life force of Shankara. Jnana Vairagya Siddhyartham, for perfecting my knowledge and detach and renunciation. Bhiksham Dehi, give me this Bhiksha. Please give me this food. Offer me this food, which I am begging you from you, Parvati. That is a prayer we chant before eating. So, for example, with this attitude and understanding, you may probably use this prayer and feel the meaning of these words while you chant it 3 times. before eating. So the whatever you eat becomes Viksha. Pratidinam Vikshaushadam Bhujjitam. It also has a power of sanctifying the food. Right? And while eating, be conscious of all the natural reactions that come from inside us. In Tamil New Year, when we have New Year in India, especially Tamil New Year, they will offer you neem flower pachadi. There is one dish called Vepambu pachadi, neem flower, a kind of sweet dish that is made from neem flower. And they will also make a rasam from neem flower. So it is kind of bittersweet. That shows the nature of life. The year that is going to come is also has bitterness and it also has sweetness. And we are supposed to treat both with equanimity. So that philosophy is there in that book. So when we are swadvanam natsu yachatam means while you are eating, do not let only your taste buds dominate over your preference of what you are eating. Give priority to nutrition. I'm not telling don't bother about taste at all. It is a virtue to nourish a fine and a refined taste for food. It's a virtue. It's an art. So there's a lot of beauty in it. But that should not be the deciding factor of whether you will eat or not, how much you will eat or not. What you will eat, how much you will eat should be dictated by hunger and nutrition. Taste is secondary. So we have to be conscious of that and eat based on that principle while we eat. So don't make taste as the only main dominating factor that will decide what you eat and how much you eat. The swadvannam natyachatam can be adapted for all of us in this way. Vidivasat praptena santushtyatam. Whatever food you have acquired and prepared in home, no, whatever food you have acquired and prepared in home, while following the rules of dharma, sometimes you will get it right, sometimes you may not get it, sometimes it is you may not be able to get the right quantity, sometimes it's more than what you can chew, right? So be happy with that. Today I am able to provide myself this much. You don't have to, you don't have to create a melodrama in your mind that, oh, all my friends are able to eat, they are able to afford. Sometimes you are not able to afford certain luxurious food that somebody else is able to afford. You don't have to worry about it. You are here to take care of the hunger and basic nutrition. So you don't have to always uh, make it as an ambition to have luxurious food, for example. It is not required. And you don't have to base your satisfaction on what you are able to eat compared to what your neighbor eats and friends eat, right? So based on what you are able to acquire while following dharma and while eating in the right way, following the rules of the food and all that. For example, I am avoiding onion and garlic and I am eating sattvic food today because I have decided to follow such and such a rule on such and such holy days. Let us say today is Ekadashi or today is Shashti or something. So I am going to eat food without salt, or today is Paurnami, I will eat without salt. Suppose if I have this rule, okay, I am eating that. Now this is the food I am eating according to the discipline that I have set for myself. Then sometimes some of my friends might be wanting to go and they are having a dinner party. So today I have decided not to have dinner, only have lunch. Some of my friends have decided a dinner party exactly on the day when I am fasting or when I am having some rules. I cannot eat onion garlic on that day. They are all going for a restaurant. Now I don't have to see. I can start feeling bad that, oh, why I have to follow this. I am losing out on my social life and all that. So sometimes children have this problem. When for example we have some rules in the ashram. Oh, this ashram is hell. It's all these rules when so many other people are having so much fun. Or when the parents tell today you cannot eat this. For example, there is this month called Protasi in Tamil. calendar. There's a month called Purotasi when most of the meat eating Hindus will not eat meat on Purotasi. So there are a lot of jokes about that and memes about that, and there's a lot of drama around it. So, and there is always, they will try to, how the narrative works. That anti-Hindu narrative. They will always show this Puratasi month. There is no meat in the house. So this Hindu guy is, having a Muslim friend or a Christian friend who tempts them with some biryani or some meat dish. They go and have that secretly. You know, it's they tell like, oh, it's how a non-Hindu friend is very useful during Puratasi month. Like that, I saw one. So there is all these kind of. Uh, it looks like a joke, but it's not a joke. It's a very sinister way of, backhand attacking of the culture. So there is a lot of orchestrated things like this going on. But anyway, so suppose let us say you are in a house and the house is following certain religious rules that is meant for the spiritual welfare of everybody in the family. Learn to be, you know, practice satisfaction, practice the santosha satisfaction for you being able to follow that rule and being there in that situation and for eating whatever you are supposed to eat on that day. Vidivasat praptena santushtita. We can remember this line, and then we can practice that sense of satisfaction from doing what is right at the right moment, and for considering what I am getting at that. There are two ways. Whatever I get based on my capacity and my karma, I consider it as the best for me, and I develop a sense of satisfaction with that. And sometimes when I follow the rules and I have restrictions and I cannot have fun like somebody else, then I remember to practice santosha or satisfaction for me being in this situation to be able to follow the rules, and I thank God for that. That in spite of this, I am able to resist that, and I am able to stick to my food discipline, and I am satisfied with what I'm doing. I'm satisfied with me doing what I'm supposed to do. Right? Vidivasat praptiyena santushtiyata. So like this, we can adapt this whatever is the food related rule given for sannyasi. We can adapt it for ourselves in this way. If you have some other ideas and interpretations, you can give, and we can discuss that. Then a very important concept is given here. Audasinyam abhipsyatam. Practice indifference. Be established in indifference practice and reinforce this attitude of indifference. This is to be understood in a very subtle way. It is not being stone hearted and completely not caring for the people, being stone hearted and callousness. It's not the callousness that is being talked about here. Cultivate indifference, audasinyam, is extremely important because the world is not going to behave according to my preferences. Why do I care in any given situation? If a given situation affects me emotionally and invokes that involvement from me, why does it do that? Why does the situation invoke involvement from me? Because it is connected with my preferences. My preferences could be based on Shastra, my preferences could be based on my likes and dislikes. The source of my preference could be righteous or habitual. It does not matter. But what does it do? The involvement comes from preference. But for a person who is devoted to the truth of the self, this person has risen above dharma and adharma. A person who wants to be established in the self is not bothered about dharma, is not bothered about adharma. And it is not his duty to fix the world. Audasinyam abhipsyatam. Practice indifference because it's not your job to fix the world. One. Two, even if you try, you cannot fix the world. Don't be an activist. All that is included in this. For a sannyasi, it's a little extreme. How we can translate it for normal lay people who are having active life, family life, and all that? If you remember, we have discussed this value, this inner asset called uparama. Hmm? Uparama. Swadarama anushtanameva. Sticking to your commitment, your duties, your responsibilities that are defined by your dharma that you have consciously undertaken. And other than that, you cultivate indifference to everything else. Even while performing your dharma, cultivate indifference to the consequences of your righteous actions. Just because you are doing a righteous action, that doesn't mean only the pleasant and good consequences will come to you. Just because you are an unrighteous person, that doesn't mean only bad things will happen to you. Good things will happen to good people, bad things will happen to bad people. No. Bad things can happen to good people, good things can happen to bad people. Good and bad keeps happening to an individual based on the effect of your prarabdha, the result of the past karma, not based on the actions that we are doing now. What actions we are doing now will generate result later in the future. But what situations come to us, especially those things that are beyond our control, are not dictated by whether I am devoted to dharma or not right now. Also, the number of variables affecting the people and the events around us are infinite. We cannot control everything. And if I get over involved and care for each and everything that is around and everybody's suffering and everybody's problems, I poke my nose and I want to fix everything around me, I will never have time to contemplate and establish my mind in the self. I am constantly encouraging duality. I am constantly encouraging my involvement in the world. I will be reinforcing my loka vasana. I will be reinforcing my vishaya vasana. So if I reinforce my vasanas, where is the nishta in atma going to be? It's not going to happen. So audasinyam, practice audasinyam, indifference. If it is not affecting your practice, don't bother about it. Even if it is an external phenomena that is affecting your practice, don't bother about it too much and see how you can handle the situation through internal means, not bother too much about external means. If there is there's some noise coming and you have a window, you can close the window and the noise will not come in, you can go and close the window. It is a Saturday evening, there is going to be a party in the neighborhood, dung tak, dung tak, dung tak, dung tak. In a city like Bangalore, you can't do anything. There is a bar some 2-3 buildings away from you in your block. It's going to blast till 11 o'clock. You have to endure it. You can close your windows, do whatever, put earplugs. This is all we can do. So we cannot go there and try to negotiate, try to change the world and make the world friendly for my sadhana. It's not going to work. Then the next one, Janakrupa Naishturyam Utsrujyatam. Janakrupa Naishturyam Utsrujyatam. Do not how to say, do not be psychologically looking forward to people's kindness. Do not develop a psychological dependency on people's kindness. Give up expecting kindness or give up feeling bad when there is lack of kindness. People being beneficial to, if a sannyasi is supposed to be parivrajaka, a mendicant, wandering person, not supposed to stay for more than 3 days or 3 nights in one village. That is the rule originally. So now it's all a joke, but originally this is the rule. So the reason is you don't get used to one place where they treat you nicely and then you avoid all the other places where they don't treat you nicely. No, you are supposed to stay for maximum 3 days. So you develop that equanimity. and not decide your life based on where it is nice, where it is not nice. And whoever is treating me nicely, then I will tend to favor them more. Whoever is not treating me nicely, I will not favor them, or I will do something against them. So all these problems, so do not be dependent on people being nice. Also, not looking forward to people respecting you. Sometimes they will be respectful, some other time another guy will not be respectful. Janakripa naishtutyamutruchyataam. Right. So this is extremely important for a life of a sannyasi, because not simply because that sannyasi cannot afford to have this, it increases and reinforces your attachment to the experiencer. Me, me as the bhokta, and it also reinforces my ego, my individuality or my self-respect and all those things. It starts influencing that. So then it goes against one's nishta. Janakripa naishturyam utsrujyatam. This and the previous one are connected. No, audasinyam, practicing indifference, also means practice indifference to how people treat you. Don't look for preferential treatment and respectful treatment from people. Don't look for name and fame and recognition, etc. Or don't look for special acts. Oh, I have renounced, I am a Swami and going. No, I am a person devoted to the truth, and these people are not showing respect. These people are not, I have left the family and everything, and I have devoted myself to the truth, pursuit of truth, and these people don't care for me. I am all alone here. Why nobody cares for me? There is nobody. No, you can feel sorry sometimes. There are people who are very alone, and then let us say there is some fever or something. They feel so let out. There is nobody for me. All this melodrama, all this can come. So Janakrupa, don't look for compassion and treatment, compassionate and considerate treatment. Don't look for that kind of treatment from people. And if at all you receive a nice treatment from somebody, don't internalize it and obsess over it. Be indifferent to it. You be indifferent to somebody treating you nice. In the same way, you are practicing indifference to somebody who is treating you not nice. It has to be both ways. If I prefer one, if I am not indifferent towards one, I cannot be indifferent towards others. So how I can imbibe it in my everyday life when I am not a sannyasi? It talks about, it can be translated as emotional independence and self-sufficiency. So this, when I cultivate as a value in my everyday life, for example, in a given context, I have a duty and I have to perform this. Some people will like, some people will not like. People's opinions, it is not only just the preferential treatment, it also means how I am affected by people's opinions. So now, people's opinion is not in my control. People's opinion need not follow any rules or any order or any shastra. This, I have to understand this. It's like Indian traffic. I may follow all my rules, but all the guys on the road may not follow any rule. So I have to assume and be ready for somebody who is breaking the rule, so that I am not hit by that guy. Right? In the same way, people's opinions are not under my control, and the people's opinion need not follow any proper order. That is a fact. That's the reality of life, and I have to be ready to face that, and I should have the inner strength to not be affected by that. So I am able to be available to perform my duty to the best of my understanding, irrespective of people's opinions. So whether my sense of right and wrong, what I am doing is okay, whether I am on the right track or not, is based on Shastra and common sense. and it is not based on people's opinion. I can't keep changing my track because somebody feels this way, somebody else feels some other way. So my knowledge, my actions should be based on right knowledge and not people's opinion. Now this is a value that I can imbibe and cultivate an indifference to how people, or to all the people's opinions, provided I am very clear about what I am doing. Suppose if I am not clear about what I am doing, then I can use the people's opinions as a mirror to recheck my righteousness. I can recheck whether I am on the right track or not. Oh, why are they telling like this? Am I on the right track or not? So I can try to look up at an objective standard that is not based on opinion, but it is based on some proper principles and reality that is connected to the reality, that is connected to dharma, that is connected to um, the rules that govern whatever action that I am doing, the principles that govern the action that I am doing. So I can probably sharpen my attention, be more attentive to that, and recheck my fundamentals. The opinions can probably serve as a mirror for me to prompt me to recheck my knowledge and my clarity, and to recheck my commitment, and to recheck my own presence of any bias or something in my own mind. It can serve as a mirror to do that recheck, but it cannot be the driving force that will decide what I will do. Now, this value can be accommodated like this, so that my ego is not important. Righteous action for a given context becomes more important than what people will think. So people's opinion will keep on changing. Yesterday they will say something, today they will say something else, tomorrow they will say something else. As long as I am not successful, they will have all kinds of things talking about me. Once I have established commitment and consistency and discipline for over a certain period of time, their whole opinion might change, and still it doesn't matter. I am not waiting for their opinion to change for the better, nor am I affected by their opinion when it is not okay. So this kind of value can be imbibed and gives a huge level of inner strength and allows me to stay committed on my path. Janakripa Naishtutyam Utsuruchyatam. So further discussions on this we will have in the coming class, and then we will go to the final shloka of Sadhana Panchakam. And there is one small question which was asked. I will answer that and complete the class. About Shravanam Mananam. Regarding Shravanam, I understand that realization occurs only during Shravanam. Is that correct? Realization can occur only during Shravanam. Realization occurs only because of Shravanam. Sometimes it may occur during Mananam. Okay. But if the Shravanam is proper, it will occur during Shravanam itself. And Mananam will clear the. Yes, Mananam is something that we do. I understand that Mananam is something that we do on our own. Yes, correct. Is there any difference between Mananam and Swadhyaya? Mananam is a mental process. Swadhyaya is the external prop. Swadhyaya means studying of the texts and the scriptures and listening to the discourses, etc. Swadhyaya includes Shravanam. Shravanam is a kind of Swadhyaya. And also studying the Shastra is Swadhyaya. So during Swadhyaya, Mananam can occur. So Swadhyaya is not Mananam. Mananam is an internal process for which Swadhyaya helps. So when you study certain texts, it helps for me to clear the doubts. And when you can, when you do Swadhyaya of Shankara Bhashyam, when you study that, it becomes Manana. The Manana takes place, and automatically the gray areas are cleared. Swadhyaya includes Satsanga, but does Mananam include it? See, Mananam is talking about an internal process. Satsanga can facilitate Mananam. Swadhyaya can facilitate Mananam. But Mananam is not Swadhyaya. Mananam need not include Satsanga. You can do Mananam without Satsanga also. You can do Mananam by yourself also. So these are three different terms, but they are all interrelated and complementary to each other. So with this, I will conclude the class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Thank you. There is some message. I understand about I have a question here. Kindly copy this and send me in WhatsApp so that we can have it for the next class.